Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Comics a la Mode, the podcast where we talk about comics, TV, movies, gaming, all that fun stuff. I am Russ, obviously, and as you can see, Landon is not here today. He had to work late, so of course, that always comes first. So I'm going to try to do my best to run this episode of the show. We've got a lot to talk about. Over the last week and a half, there's been a lot of news. First and foremost, the biggest news coming out right now is through Microsoft. I don't know if you all have seen or anything, but Microsoft is in the midst of acquiring Activision, and they've been in a long legal battle or a case with in Europe, and before the court signed off, there was a leak, and hilariously enough, this leak came from Microsoft themselves, and it showed their entire game plan essentially. So one of the big things that came out was the fact that diskless Xbox Series X will be coming, that has an upgraded terabyte upgraded storage space, which is 2 terabytes. That's pretty dope. But it was interesting. One of the most interesting parts about all of this that came, especially the conversation that came out of this, let me just say, is that some of the big news gaming wise for Xbox was that Elder Scrolls 6 will be an Xbox exclusive. And so in this era where we had blowing up of both, as we talked about it last week, but Elder Scrolls being an Xbox exclusive, and then an all digital Xbox Series X coming out, there's a lot of people online talking about how, Microsoft doesn't care about gaming, this, that, and the other. And it's been funny because the trolls have been trolling hard the last week and a half, especially PlayStation. Starfield continues to get review bombed. It is now currently the worst rated Bethesda game. It's rated worse than not Starfield. It's rated worse than Fallout 76, which is a bad game. It never really recovered. It's a bad game. And sorry, my brain it's been a long day, folks. It's been a long day. Fallout 76 was not a good game. Was not. It never really recovered either. So the fact that Starfield is ranked worse obviously means one thing, and it means it's been review bombed. PlayStation has it's not even that the game's bad. The game is not what we all thought or hoped it would be, but it's not a bad game either. The reason it's being review bombed, obviously, right now is big thing going forward is the fact that it's a Xbox exclusive, and PlayStation fans absolutely utterly hate the fact that it's a PlayStation exclusive, and especially now knowing that Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be a PlayStation exclusive as well. There's nothing you can do about it. People are going to be dumbasses and idiots. But Twitter has been on fire the last week just with all of this. Everybody's calling because of the diskless Xbox Series X. Everybody's saying that Microsoft doesn't care about gaming, this, that, and the other. The future is digital, folks. Like, we all know this. We all have known this. It doesn't make sense to get all bent out of shape over this at all. So that was one of the pieces of news that was pretty big. The court did they're going to make their final ruling in October, which is, only a week away. I think it's October 8th. But they have provisionally said yes. They've provisionally allowed it. So this, Microsoft is going to be acquiring Activision, which I think is pretty cool, especially for those of us who have Xboxes. That's going to most likely mean that old Call of Duties are going to be on Game Pass, which will be great. Another piece of news that I thought was really interesting was that next week, or this week actually, Call of Duty, which we all know, like I've always said this, Call of Duty is one of the worst managed games on the planet. Like Call of Duty is one of those games that everybody at the top that help manage the finances of this game just are blood sucking vampires. But with this new season that drops next week, one of the really cool and interesting parts is that it is Halloween themed. Halloween themed battle passes specifically have always done well for any company. Look at Fortnite. Fortnite has done so much money when it comes to Halloween themes. But Call of Duty has done something really interesting with this one, is that the main operator for this battle pass is Spawn. Now, the really cool part, and the reason I think it's really interesting and wanted to talk about it, is that you get 3 different versions, or 4 different versions of Spawn. Actually, you get Spawn, the main character before he's Spawn. You get a Spawn variant, or 2 Spawn variants, and then you get the comic book version of Spawn. Now, the really cool part about this, and this is something that I've always talked about, especially in gaming, Fortnite has done it with Marvel, and especially with their and DC for that matter, with their 0-year event, or their the comics, that the crossover comics, is that they've given certain characters different suits that look like the event, have something to do with the event. They Fortniteify a character's costume, which I think is really cool. I love variant costumes, are always something that are cool to me. Call of Duty has finally figured this out, I guess, because this version of Spawn, one of the variants, is a Call of Duty, like if Spawn was in Call of Duty. It's very that vibe. Go look up a picture of it. It's pretty cool. The problem with this is that, to me, it's almost as if they learned their lesson too late, because when we look at, they just had The Boys as a crossover and did nothing with that. They didn't have any of the military characters. They had Homelander, Starlight, and Black Noir. Black Noir is probably the only character that really mattered in that one, that actually like felt like it fit in Call of Duty. So it's going to be interesting to see how Microsoft manages Call of Duty once they have control. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I think we might start to see less grimy toxicity when it comes to the pay to win aspect of the game. That being said, very excited for Modern Warfare 3. I think the change in the zombie mode is going to be very interesting. And it's another Call of Duty that is going to be fun. A lot of this episode is going to be gaming focused because I'm the only person between Landon and I that really plays games. The other thing that the biggest thing that I did this weekend was we played Cyberpunk. Now, Cyberpunk has been out for 3 years, and it's crazy because Cyberpunk launched horribly. Like people were like, this game has so many bugs, it's unplayable, this, that, and the other. I bought it right when it first came out and didn't play it. I did not play it when it first came out. I read a lot of reviews and I'm like, yeah, this is just not, I don't want to touch this right now. I'm really glad I waited. This last week on Friday, they dropped a big update for the game. They essentially are calling it Cyberpunk 2.0. And this changes a lot of the the systems of the game. And what's wild is it really does. Uh, it gave a little bit of a graphical update to the game already. A gorgeous game, looks amazing still. Um, it changed a lot of the way the perk system and the way the attributes work. Um, and this game, it's fun. Um, I played most of the game where I would stealth all the way up until I couldn't stealth anymore, and then I'd go in guns blazing. Excuse me. And once I finished the campaign, because I got through the whole thing. Um, Once I finished the campaign, it literally I was just like, oh, I want to keep playing and I want to keep doing all the side quests, mainly so that I can keep learning how to get better at being this badass assassin with a samurai sword and knife arms. So that was really cool. Like it, it is quite the improvement of the game. If you've never played it, if you heard all the bad things, I would pick it up now. It's probably on sale. Definitely worth checking out now. They have an update coming out. Well, when you guys hear this, oh, it is Monday. I keep forget. I know we record on Mondays, but for some reason, this feels like a Wednesday. Um, we They have an update. Sorry, they have a what's it called? Oh, an expansion. They have an expansion coming out, and from what I've heard, because I have not played it yet, it is quite an extensive expansion. Um, and it'll be fun. It'll be fun to check out. This year for games is going to be crazy. But anyways, the other thing I wanted to talk about, because we got so much has happened today actually, which is quite interesting. Martin Scorsese came out and said this about the movie industry. He says, um, the dangers of the comic book and franchise movies are what it's doing to our culture. There are going to be generations now that think movies are only those. That's what movies are. They already think that. To fight back, people should support artists. Um, Quite an interesting. I understand the take that he is coming from because this is Martin Scorsese. Like he's not a franchise person. He literally stopped working with Warner Brothers because they wanted to make The Departed a franchise by either keeping Leonardo DiCaprio or um, Matt Damon's characters alive. So I understand where he's coming from. As somebody who is a huge Marvel nerd, likes franchises, is a big franchise guy. I like franchises, and I think there's a place for them. I do understand where he's coming from and agree with him that the problem currently is that we are so focused on franchises that we forget to be creative. Um, and I think that's quite that's a bad thing if we stop being creative. Perfect example, movie that I've seen a bunch of trailers for is The Creator. It is wholly. It's very much like it's what Martin Scorsese was talking about and like what people should go see. I'm gonna go see it this weekend because it looks like a phenomenal movie. It's sci-fi, very Elysium, actually very cyberpunk. Um, Definitely gonna have to go check that movie out. And it's funny because I've been having franchise fatigue. I love Mission Impossible. Did not go see the last Mission Impossible movie. I didn't. The last movie I went to see was Guardians, actually, and Guardians and Spider and uh, Edge of Spider Verse. Um, but I think, yeah, I think movies are. It's going to be an issue with movies, and honestly, all entertainment itself, because you see this with gaming as well. Like it's hard to really get a new IP off the ground. Everybody's trying to iterate off of a known IP. Look at Call of Duty. Look at Assassin's Creed. Cyberpunk's even doing that with The Witcher now that they're creating a new Witcher game. And so it's a problem that we have in today's society where we are more interested in making money through known IPs and known entities that we know will work than it is taking the risk to try and be creative and try something new and create stories out of culture, create stories that are based on culture, create stories that have a message more than just a franchise. I think it's very we're on a slippery slope, folks. We're definitely on a slippery slope. But yeah, so that's my little Martin Scorsese rant. But let's see what else. Oh, so then the other thing that I did this weekend is I finished, or not this weekend, last week, I finished One Piece. And again, I've said it, we've talked about it multiple times on the podcast in the last couple of weeks. I know Landon said that he watched episode 2 and really that's where he like I said is like that's really where it's like, oh, okay, I've fallen in love with it. And honestly, like the rest of that show is literally just that. It is just continually falling in love with the show. Every character introduced is interesting. Every character introduced has a quirk to them that is interesting. Even the villains are interesting, and this obviously ends on a cliffhanger. It doesn't end on a super big cliffhanger. Like it ends teasing what's to come. Excuse me. I'm still trying to get over being sick, folks, so that's why I sound so nasally. But it ends really satisfyingly because it ends as this group of it's very like Guardians of the Galaxy, this group of ragtag individuals become a family, and it's so fun. Luffy still annoys the hell out of me, but everybody else is a good enough character that I enjoy that I want to keep watching. That's for sure. What else? Let's see. What else was there? Comics wise, nothing really big has happened. All that much. We had some trailers. But again, like it's hard for me to just sit here and talk to you guys for a long time because I'm all by myself. And I don't like talking to myself or by myself. I'm trying to look right now. I'm looking at where's my Twitter? Let's see. Is there anything on Twitter that I saw that I wanted to comment on? Ahsoka this week was great. I'll talk a little bit about that. Ahsoka this week was great. If you are a fan of Rebels, you'll really love this last episode. Very interested to see what happens tomorrow. The last episode still felt a little, even though it definitely moved the story along, it felt a little filler. It felt a little fan servicey. But I love this show so far. I think this show is great. Honestly, probably the best Star Wars movie or TV show yet. I see we have one person who joined. So hello. I forgot to post this anywhere, so let me put this on Instagram. Come join. Where's the links? Oh my gosh. Instagram is sometimes the wonkiest thing you can do. It's wild to me. Oh, we got 2 people. Hello. Um, but anyways, yeah, Ahsoka was great. Very, very interested to see what happens tomorrow. Um, for the two of you who have joined, I just kind of talked about some of the Microsoft news and some of the other stuff. I am by myself again, as let me reiterate that. And so this is probably going to be a shorter stream because I don't like talking by myself. It's weird to me. Um, and I'm also like, as you can tell, I'm still stuffed up. Um, but yeah, Ahsoka's great. Definitely, it's definitely my favorite Star Wars show so far. Um, ah, I think actually, you know what, Mandalorian still has that because as much as I love Ahsoka, I still love all the new ideas that a Mandalorian started with and the Western aspect that it started with. Um, and so my roommate's a Bears fan, so I'm. It's Monday Night Football. Yeah, my roommate's a Bears fan, so he's probably losing. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of I don't know where else I was gonna go with that. Yeah, it, episode's great. Oh, I did watch. I did check out. I actually and I polished off Rick and Morty season 6. That was quite fun. They just released a trailer with the new voices because Justin Roiland is a class A piece of garbage. So that is going to be fun. I took a long hiatus. I love Rick and Morty, but I took a long hiatus from Rick and Morty this last year because I got burnt out on Rick and Morty, and so it was nice to go back and like watch it. It's funny because the show is can sometimes be exhausting for its because it's funny. It's hard to realize it, but like it it can get exhausting because of how much nihilism is in that show. Um, that is very it weighs you down. It weighs you down, especially if you're not used to that amount of um, negativity. Even though it's wrapped in humor, it's very obvious that there is that. I did a lot this weekend watching and playing stuff because I was sick and I was just trying to get better. um, hello to the two viewers. Y'all should post in the chat. Like, say something. Say something. I'm giving up on you. No, I don't know. That was weird. I'm trolling. Let's see. Let's troll some news. Um, I don't know if I have anything else. Yeah, I don't really have anything else, guys. I think I am gonna call it. It's I've only been talking for 22 minutes, but I have no like there wasn't a ton, and I I work better with someone that I can bounce stuff off of and we can talk about. Um, but what Joker? Um, yeah, this was a train wreck of an episode, folks. I kind of feel bad. I yeah, but anyways, with that, I'm gonna call it Texas Tea Sweetener. Hello, hello. Sorry. Go check out better videos, which is our like other episodes. This is a train wreck of an episode. Because I don't like talking by myself. I struggle with it, and like if I would have known I was doing this, I would have probably like wrote up a script and wrote better notes of like things. Um, I did read. Let's see. I did read some comics. Which one of them that came out is Batman: Brave and the Bold. Now, I will talk about this a little bit because I was actually kind of interested in this one. The interesting part of this is that currently in the Batman comics, Batman is not a billionaire anymore. He's still a millionaire. I'm pretty sure it's like he's not a billionaire anymore, but he's a millionaire. So he doesn't have his mansion. I'm pretty sure it got blown up. So he's living out of a brownstone in Gotham. Hilariously enough, it still has a bat cave. It still accesses a ton of tunnels and all of this fun stuff. He still has his gear. Like, it's not he's not hurting as being Batman. But the one interesting part of this is that Damian Wayne, his son, otherwise known as Robin, is now living with him, and it's mainly to keep up appearances. Because currently in the Batman universe, Batman is on the outs with the rest of the Bat family because they have decided to side with Catwoman, because Catwoman has decided to take over Gotham crime syndicate, like just all of its crime. She's essentially taught all of the henchmen how to be cat burglars, and so now they just steal from the rich and don't hurt the poor. And if you hurt the poor, then Catwoman deals out her justice accordingly. And so the rest of the Bat family has sided with her. Literally, like, specifically, the big one is obviously Red Hood, because Red Hood's gonna side with anybody who isn't Batman. He's got major Batman daddy issues. So Damian is the one who sided with Batman, and so to keep up appearances, he has moved in with Batman, and Batman has now enrolled him into school, which I thought was really interesting. But this first comic really shows the strain between the two of them, and how outside of being Batman and Robin, they don't know how to be father and son, and how they really struggle with that, which I think is a really interesting concept. And I'm very interested to see where this book where this book takes it. Because I don't think, other than the Tomasi Batman and Robin, which is when he first originally came to Batman, and we had that whole storyline, and then he also dies in that storyline. We really haven't seen Batman and Bruce Wayne be dad. And we haven't really seen Damian Wayne really be the son, which I think is two really interesting concepts that that haven't been played out enough. We did get it with Superman a couple years ago. I want to say it was Tomasi. I picked up issue 1. Yeah, Texas Tea Sweetener. Yeah, issue 1 is the only one that's out so far. It's very good. We did. My biggest thing is I really like father and son stories. I think father and son stories, especially in comics, and when their dad is a superhero and when the son is a superhero too, I think are very interesting. One of my favorite runs of Superman came out a couple years ago, and I think it was Tomasi as well, actually. But it's Superman with Superboy, and it's John Kent. He's developing powers, and Superman's learning how to do that, like learning how to be dad, but also realizing that his kid is going to have powers. So also learning how to be like Superman and being able to train him. And I think it's fascinating. I really think it's fascinating and cool to see. It's cool to see in comics, and so that's why I picked it up. That's why I originally picked up Batman Brave and the Bold, because I saw that was going to probably be the case, and that's what it is. And I've said this multiple times on the podcast and on the show, but that's also the reason I really love Superman and Lois on CW, because it deals with the same types of themes. And Tyler Hochkin, who plays Superman, does a phenomenal job of being a dad but also being a dad who has to juggle being Superman, but also wanting to be there for his boys. Um, it's phenomenal. And in a day and age where we where men have been turned into these just spineless pieces of their family, it's nice to see um comics and movies and TV shows where there's a dad there and he is actively trying to help his family and be there for his family. So I think it's really interesting. But with that being said, I got nothing left in me. I don't know if you guys can tell, my voice has like started to get worse as this episode has gone on. So with that, I am going to bid you adieu and have a good night. We are live. We're live a little bit earlier today, just because I have stuff I've got to go do tonight. But usually Landon is here. We're live on at 8. The the audio episode is going to be up tomorrow morning. Even I don't know why you would want to listen to the audio version of this. It's pretty bad right now. But once Landon gets back, it will be back in tip top shape. Um, he's definitely the organizational brain of this duo. And so with that, yeah, folks, have a great rest of your week. Hopefully this wasn't too horrendous and you guys had fun. And I got to talk a little bit about some random facts and fun stuff. So peace out. Thank you, Texas Tea Sweetener, for coming in and joining. And see you guys on the flip side. Oh wait, hold on, let me see. Do.